Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Tuesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go up to our friends up in Queensland, and we're heading to the beautiful Darling Downs region of Queensland. Of course, that is Toowoomba, and especially to talk with the Southwest Queensland Thunder women's football team. And of course, their NPLW season will start very soon in the next couple of months. And of course, we've got two very special guests from the Thunder NPLW team to tell us all about it. Thanks, both of you, for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Also, I'll get both of you to introduce yourselves and tell us what position both of you will hopefully be playing on the field when the season starts.
So hi, I'm Lauren Spreadborough, and I am a centre back for Southwest Queensland Thunder.
Yeah. And I'm Liz Hollett. I am the goalkeeper for the Thunder.
Now, how's the pre-season been like for the upcoming season for the team?
First two games pretty good. Came away with 2 wins against a local club and then a combination of the best from the local clubs, so their all-star team. So pretty happy with that. And then third game we played on the weekend, going down to South United. So 2 games to go, but before the season starts, so pretty good, but hoping to get a couple more wins.
I was going to say it was a really great opportunity to play against the best of our region in Toowoomba, but then on the weekend that's just passed, we were able to finally play a NPL Queensland team. So it was really good for us to see where we're sitting in the league and play against that level of competition. So although we didn't get a win, for us, it was a huge stepping stone to identify where we need to develop as a team for the coming weeks, as we do play South in under 3 weeks, I believe, 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
Now, we'll get to that game in just a moment against South, which is your first game coming up in a couple of weeks. But you might have, I think, Liz, you mentioned that you have 2 games left of the pre-season before the normal season gets underway. You must tell us who your remaining 2 pre-season games are against.
So pretty sure you can correct me if this is wrong, Lauren, but next weekend we play Western Pride. I'm not sure who we play the weekend after.
We play Virginia the following weekend, and then we're straight into round 1 versus QAS.
I guess how important are the next 2 games, even though they're not technically NPL women's teams, but how important is the next 2 heading towards that first one against the Queensland Academy of Sports team?
For us as the team, I think it's huge, the final 2 preparations leading into rounds 1 for fitness, because we aren't able to have that rolling subs that we are able to do in pre-season, and really set a solid starting lineup to develop our set pieces, our key plays, and working towards round 1. I'm not sure where I'm going.
I think it's also massive because our team is so different from last year. Big change up. So we're still getting used to playing with each other and finding who's best in which position. So it's been like, especially against Souths on Saturday, big learning experience and a lot of changes and that kind of thing. So it'll be good to find a bit of consistency.
I know last season, I'm hoping this is correct, didn't both you play, or your teams might have versed against each other last season? Am I correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yes, unfortunately.
So the question I want to ask you is, how difficult was it to play against each other, and how good is it now to be on the same team this time?
It wasn't fun playing against Lauren, especially for me on corners and stuff. It's much nicer having her defend our corners than having to come up against her on them. So with her height, it's a big threat, and happy to have her on my team.
Thanks, Liz. And for me, Liz has pulled off some phenomenal saves throughout the year, especially when we played against Thunder. She just would keep us out of the game in terms of being able to score. So I'm really stoked to have her behind me and then be able to work together to do our best to create a solid defence for Thunder.
Loz, I have to ask you, Why did you end up going to the Thunder this year?
For me, I had a number of reasons. My first reason was starting my new career as a recent graduate, but also the Toowoomba region really appealed to me in terms of being able to pursue my football aspirations and play at the highest level in Queensland.
And I guess, Liz, when you heard that Loz was coming over from a pretty damn good team that almost got all the way and won it all, I guess, what was your was it signing?
Yeah, it was. I definitely didn't believe it until she first showed up to training. I was like, coach is having a bit of a laugh here, but yeah. So stoked to have her, especially being centre back. It's awesome to have her in front of me.
Now, Liza, I have to come back to you on this one. Now, of course, you will have to eventually verse against your former team eventually throughout the season. How tough would that going to be for you?
I do know there has been a number of changes with the whole league. Essentially, the entry of 4 new teams, it's created a big reshuffle among the league. So a few of the Logan girls have departed off to new clubs. However, playing against your old club is always a big rivalry that you want to perform. And yeah, I'd love to put away a header against Logan.
Both of you being involved with, I guess, when Thunder and the Lightning play against each other. Is there a real rivalry between yourselves and Logan?
Thunder, there's always been a good rivalry, and the girls really play with passion and resilience and pride. Definitely, they're always a tough team to play against. And I know this last season, it came down to a make-up game for Logan to get into final four. So Thunder definitely brought it to us in that last game. They wanted to prevent us from making finals. So it was a grudge match.
Yeah, well, Logan and Thunder have the same team song as we walk out. So we're always got a bit of a grudge against that as well. So walking out to our team song at their home ground, we come out firing a little bit.
Tell us a bit about the team, and especially other than Loz. Do you have any other new players coming in, or players that come from other teams?
So I know Toowoomba have been able to sign a number of girls within the region. So we have local players playing for Thunder this season, and we've been able to promote a number of our threes up to the squad. So on the weekend, we actually had 3 new defensive players in our back line. So it was a huge reshuffle, which is a huge reason why our preparation is key leading into round 1. I think Liz may know more of the signings as well.
Yeah, so from last year, obviously Lauren, but then we've got, as Lauren said, a lot of local players which came from playing against their all-star teams. It gave the Thunder coaches a chance to watch them and pick out the potential and offer them a trialling spot. So yeah, a heap of local talent has come up, which is exciting to see. Plus we still have our international player Nani from Singapore, and that might be it. We don't have a lot of Brisbane players, obviously, because there's plenty of clubs there, but a lot of local talent.
Now, being the only team pretty much in the country area of Queensland in the NPL, I guess, how good is it to have the Thunder being out there in a pretty amazing region of Queensland in the Darling Downs and, of course, the surrounding areas? How important is to have that there in the Toowoomba and the Darling Downs area?
It's super important. Gives the girls an opportunity here to play at the next level without having to travel all the way to Brisbane multiple times a week to get that chance. Obviously, we've had a few success stories from it. Abby Lloyd being the main one that comes to mind, playing for Thunder and then being spotted by the Roar and picked up by them. So I think it's important because a lot of us wouldn't play if there was no Toowoomba team. So it's important that it stays here so we can keep our rep up and keep the girls with talent, keep giving them opportunities. So.
Yeah, awesome. So playing for Thunder, being a part of Southwest Queensland Thunder, it does provide the opportunity for the youth program to play in Queensland, play in the Brisbane region. So they are able to get selected for the QAS development programs. So it does provide that access to the higher tiers, which we all aspire to play and progress towards. But yeah, I think it's huge. When we go out and play each week, we're not only representing just Southwest Queensland Thunder football, we're really representing the whole Toowoomba region, so which is a huge achievement in itself. And we want to, make our area proud.
Now, Liz, you mentioned about Abby just a moment ago, and of course, she's in with the Brisbane Roar at the moment. I guess, are you hoping to get her back after the W League season finishes?
So Abby actually played for us last season. Yeah, we picked her up after the first few rounds, and she came along and made a big impact and stood up and had a leadership role in the team and really boosted us. So it was good to have Abby, but I think with her living in Brisbane, it's a bit of a hike. But yeah, it'd be nice to steal her back for this season again.
Tell us a bit about some of the youngsters coming through that we should watch out for when the season begins.
I would say Maddie Lock, our strikers. She's definitely a standout for me, quite young, and she's progressed through the ranks of NPL system at Southwest Queensland Thunder. So I think she's a big one to look out for. With the absence of a few girls last year, I think she's really stepped up to the plate, and hopefully we'll see some more goals from her in the coming rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. She was named in our top 5 players to watch this season as well. And first three games of the season, she's played really well. Hard to beat when she's got the ball at her feet. So it will be exciting to see how she progresses across the season.
Aside from her, there's a number of girls from that under-23 squad that really week in, week out are progressing and showing that they have a promising look for senior football at Thunder. So,
and they make up for push for our spots as well. So it's good to have them there. Yeah.
Now, how did both of you get involved in the World Game, and why did you choose it?
Mine was kind of an accident. So coming from a very small rural town, I was the only one from my primary school going to high school. So my mum made me play a sport so that I'd get to know some people from high school, and haven't stopped since then. So thanks, Mum.
For me, I would watch all of my brother's football games. I loved watching his training, and I just nagged my parents pretty much for a whole year saying, I really want to play soccer, I really want to play football. And then, so that led me in through grassroots football, and I was able to have my dad coach me for a number of years. And then I progressed into the NPL program.
Now, Loz, I have to ask you this question as a follow-up from that. Who's the better siblings out of you and your brothers?
I'd like to say me now, myself. He doesn't play football anymore, but we can have access to the live stream. He will always message me if I do make a mistake in the game. He'll say, why? Yeah, he'll call me out on my mistakes. But he's a big supporter of my football as well.
Both of you mentioned right at the start what position you both play on the field. If you had a preferred position where you love to convince your coaches to put you this year, where would that be?
Any surprises from you, Liz?
I'd leave me there, please. Don't take me out of goal. No surprises.
Awesome. For me, definitely. I love being a centre back and trying to control the defence line as well as controlling the midfield ahead of me. So if I did have an opportunity to step into the 6th role, I'd also love that. But I know centre back is where I'm comfortable, and I love to be able to control the game from centre back.
Now, what will be some highlights throughout both your football journey so far?
I think for me, the first one that comes to mind was from last season. Thunder beat Capalaba, who were in the top 4. So that was a massive upset think we're still celebrating that one. That's the most recent highlight. It's it's a big one for us.
For myself, it would be playing in the last 2 grand finals. So that was a huge experience. And then on top of the grand final last year, I was selected for the Queensland All-Stars team, where we were able to play against New South Wales and Brisbane Roar. So I think that was a great experience last year.
Now, I believe that Queensland team didn't use beat New South Wales, which is, being a Queenslander, is something I love seeing. But Queensland teams being New South Wales teams. Tell us about that day, and especially the crowd out there at in Brizzy out there. I can't remember where the ground was that was played at. But how good was it to play in front of a Queensland vocal crowd?
Yeah, so both the grand final and the Queensland game were played at Perry Park. And I think that was a really, really good stadium to facilitate the game. And it looks unreal when all of the seats are filled, and especially with the origin sort of game, Queensland versus New South Wales, it really puts that determination into perspective. And with New South Wales travelling to Queensland for the game, they brought it to us, and the game came right down to a penalty shootout. So it was tight. We were able to take away the win. So it was great to see.
Now, Liz, I have to talk to you about that Capalaba game, which I know they are still, it's in their nightmares at the moment, talking to a couple of their players about which knocked them out of the top 4. I guess, tell us about that game.
So we actually stole Abby from Capalaba last season. So so there was a bit of extra incentive in that one. We wanted to go in and help her stick it to them a little bit. So it was completely unexpected though, and the last felt like forever, but probably 10 minutes there was just constant attacks. So really tough last 10 minutes for me, but yeah, it made it that much more special to hold them out and come away with the win. Yeah, definitely acted like we won the grand final after that. So yeah, bring it up as often as we can.
What does the Sport of the World game mean to both of you, especially being there at the Thunder?
I think it's been like a massive part of my life since I moved to Toowoomba for uni. Massive social aspect, and since like the Thunder is such a close group and it's been the main group of core players for such a long time, they did really help me adjust to moving to a new area where I knew no one. So there's an extra special aspect in that for me. It's definitely become like a small family for me up here. But yeah, every weekend look forward to that weekend game, and that gets you through the week of work. So yeah.
I find for myself, every single game I play, it's always a new experience, and I'm learning something new through every game. And for me growing up, absolutely, I agree with the social aspect. Being a part of a team and creating a good team culture is a huge, huge element to having a successful team. So I think at Thunder, we're definitely trying to develop our team culture with the girls, and then that can then flourish, and you can see that on the field.
Do either of you have any future ambitions in the Sport of the World game?
For me, I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy with Thunder, and I just want to kind of keep pushing myself to be the best I can be for the team as well, and kind of step up and be a bit of a leader in terms of goalkeeping as well, try and grow the local goalkeepers. But I'm pretty happy with where I am at this point. Yeah.
For myself, every year, I always set my goals and ambitions. So this coming season, I really want to drive Thunder and improve on where they finished last year, because I believe they deserve to sit higher up on the ladder. And then personal goals would definitely be to just continue to be more of a leader amongst the team, which I've landed into a bit of a role there at Thunder. And definitely I would love to continue developing towards the W League standard.
And what would be your advice to people, especially in the country and rural areas of Queensland, that are thinking about hopefully playing the Sport of the World game?
I think my number one is probably like play for the fun of it. Obviously work hard, but don't take it too seriously. You've got to enjoy yourself while you're out there.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with Liz. Have fun, enjoy playing football, because the minute you don't enjoy football, your performance isn't going to be great. And yeah, there's no point playing if you don't love the game. So
now let's finish off with a couple of lighthearted questions about your teammates there at the Thunder. Firstly, any embarrassing moments by anyone on the field during preseason, and what was it?
So far, everyone's safe.
Yeah, I think, none come to my mind, but it'll be me.
All right, we might check back a bit later on in the season, see how that's traveling then. Who's the comedian in the team?
One of the younger girls, probably Casey, gets the most laughs, whether it's probably mostly accidental, but we all get a bit of a laugh out of her. Definitely Casey.
Yeah, I agree. Casey, there's always something, whether it's, regarding something outside of football, she's always bringing a laugh to the team.
Terrible music taste.
the change room music, not great.
Yeah, interesting.
But it motivates Casey, so it works.
Well, she might be in this question as well. Who's the best singer and dancer in the team, or just into their TikToks?
The best dancer has got to be Mel Lloyd. If I don't give her a shout out for that, get her a bit of stripes. Yeah, I don't think anyone can sing though. Definitely not. And nobody's brought up TikTok in a while, so we might have to dig back into people's TikTok accounts to get some embarrassing content.
No, I don't have anything to add there, but I also would agree with Mel Lloyd being the best dancer. And I think on top of that, she's a big loss that we don't have her this season at the moment. We're hoping her injury will allow her to play with us, but she's a huge core player for Thunder.
Now, do either of you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
I was going to say goalkeepers always have a superstition with your gloves or your shoes. There's got to be something.
I have a few. I guess my main one, this is kind of giving away the secret. I'll always strap my wrists, and the more nervous I am, the longer the strapping gets. So you see me with like strapping all the way up to my elbows. Yeah, probably pretty nervous. No, I think I kind of got rid of them all. It made me hype me up too much.
Yeah. For me, I just love to give my both centre back, left and right back, and goalkeeper just a high five before the game, just to get around each other. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So
sounds like Liz, you might be getting a lot of high fives from Loz as the season goes on, by the sounds of it.
Start of the game, half time, you name it.
Every time Lauren does something good, so heaps of high fives.
But any strange things that's happened at training?
Pretty embarrassed by my injury right now. If that counts. Haven't had an injury that's put me out for a game in 5 years, and then pre-season I stood in a tiny little hole and ruptured a ligament in my ankle. So glad none of the girls were there to see that. I was at the men's training, but that's probably the weirdest and most embarrassing pre-season story for me.
Most embarrassing that I always, my family always refer back to is probably one of my first goals, that I was running with the ball and I stopped it with my hands and then took a shot. So I think that, it solidifies why I am a centre back or a defender. So, but so I handballed it before.
Actually, biggest surprise, we've nearly forgot to throw in a mention. In our first game, Jess Fry, our shortest player on the field, scored the winning goal with a header, or the first goal, I think it was. Yeah. So we always joke about that, but came through. So
finish off with this one last one, which is who has the best nickname in the team?
just about everyone has a nickname. I enjoy Mel Lloyd's Melonhead. Pretty accurate. Yeah. Nah, you can't top that. It's got to be Mel's.
Anyway, I'll ask you that
Always
next time.
tried to avoid that one. We have like things on our lockers with our picture and our name on them. And last year we had our nicknames, so everyone saw the melon head under her jersey. Can't get away with that.
On the weekend, we also had Maddie Frank step into goals with Liz being out injured, and her dad was behind the goals and he was calling out "Go Mud Cake." So that's her nickname, which I thought was quality.
Yeah, highly confused for a little bit because that nickname hasn't come across to the team yet, but from now on, I'll do that one.
Yeah. And now that's officially out in the open too. So
yeah. Sorry, Maddie.
Well, both of you, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. Also, we want to send our best wishes to the Thunder for the upcoming season, and let's hope there'll be a lot more wins this season compared to the last one as the season gets underway in about 3-4 weeks' time.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Will.
No worries. And that is Liz and Lauren there from the Southwest Queensland Thunder NPL women's team. Of course, if you want to get down there to Toowoomba in particular, or of course any of their road games in Brisbane, we'll put all the details up on the team schedule in the next couple of days or so. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.